This evening, the nation mourns tragic fire at Mahdia Secondary School dormitory. President Ali calls for unity and support in national mourning. Fatal incident under investigation as Guyana prison officer loses control of vehicle. Construction worker fatally crushed by falling concrete beam in tragic Sheriff Street accident. In the region, climate change in Chile, seeking scientific solutions. And internationally, Meta fined $1.3 billion over transfer of EU user data to the US. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for May 23rd, 2023. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. Guyana continues to observe 3 days of national mourning announced by President Dr. Mahdia Ali following the devastating fire at the Mahdia Secondary School female dormitory. President Ali expressed deep sorrow over the loss of 19 children, including 18 girls and a 5-year-old boy in the tragic incident during his address to the nation. He called for the national flag to be flown at half-staff from 4 p.m. yesterday as a mark of respect for the young lives lost. Describing it as one of the saddest days in his presidency, President Ali urged the nation to use these 3 days as a period of prayer for the affected children, their families, and the community. 59 girls were residing in the dormitory, with 56 present at the time of the fire, as 3 had gone home for the weekend. 13 girls and a young boy died at the dormitory, while 5 died at the Mahdia hospital. 6 injured children were airlifted to Georgetown, while 17 others received treatment at the Mahdia hospital. Meanwhile, in a concerted effort to ensure comprehensive and optimal care for the injured still in Mahdia, President Ali confirmed today that they would be flown to Georgetown for further treatment and observation. The president stressed the importance of providing the injured children with the best care during this challenging time. Furthermore, President Ali noted that the government of Cuba has graciously offered to provide any additional surgical assistance required for the survivors. This support includes the option of transporting them to Cuba if necessary. So far, post-mortem examinations were done on 6 of the girls. However, DNA testing is required to identify the remaining 13. Forensic pathologist from Barbados, Dr. Shubkumar Karapal, is currently in Guyana to assist health authorities in identifying the victims of the tragic fire. Following an offer of assistance from Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, Dr. Paul arrived in Guyana earlier today. His main task is to utilize DNA testing to help identify approximately 13 badly charred bodies, which have challenged local authorities to establish their identities. Dr. Paul is collecting DNA samples from 4 sets of the victims' relatives in Georgetown. He is scheduled to travel to Mahdia on Wednesday to gather samples from the remaining families. Counseling services have been set up for the affected children, their families, and the community. During an update on Monday afternoon, the Guyana Fire Service confirmed the fire that claimed the lives of 18 females and a 5-year-old boy in the town of Mahdia was maliciously set. Deputy Fire Chief Officer Dwayne Scotland revealed that the fire was lit in the southwestern end of the building, rapidly consuming the building and killing 19 children residing in the dormitory.
The initial investigation by the fire service identified that the fire was maliciously set. Also, the point of origin was identified to the southwestern end of the building. After we would have completed our initial investigation, the scene was handed over to the Guyana Police Force.
Scotland said the Mahdia Fire Station received a call about the fire around 11:15 p.m. on Sunday. It took the firefighters 4 minutes to arrive at the scene, but the building was already completely engulfed in flames. However, firefighters were able to rescue 20 children. Meanwhile, Commissioner of Police, Acting Clifton Hickins, has assured that the force's investigations will be concluded swiftly and made public as soon as the investigation is completed.
Initial investigation suggests, like was reported from fire, that it was maliciously set, and so our investigation is continuing. I must say this though, DNA tests will be done with the 13 remaining bodies expeditiously. We have completed the postmortem on 6 of the bodies.
Stick around when we return. Young man fatally injured in collision near Hillfoot on Linden Suicide Highway, and fatal incident under investigation as Guyana prison officer loses control of vehicle.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. He is Credit, and today all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all of these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, white spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinate soak for all you don't know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
Pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radical went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Make Georgetown beautiful once more with the council that you choose. Keep the city bright for sure, and the heritage we don't lose, and the heritage we don't lose, and the heritage we don't lose. Vote the Independent Citizens for Progress for a better and beautiful Georgetown at local government elections in June.
Problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Boy, I was just a man, Lillian.
But you man did offense me.
Leave my woman alone, Chop! Leave my woman alone!
I want you to have this. It's just some money.
Although I'm happy I find this goal, I still worried about it.
What do you think, man? This is Jumbie goal? Gold is gold, boy.
Tally, a Guyana prize-winning play, powered by the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. Showtime 6 p.m. Dress elegantly casual.
Hi, Mr. Smart. Please stop a minute and just clarify this thing for me.
Oh, Sonel, don't tell me it's local government questions again.
Yeah, boss. How come the local government elections different from the general elections?
Okay, the local government election systems allow for half of the members of the council to be elected through the proportional representation system, just like general elections. And the other half will be elected through the first past the post system. This system allows for one candidate to be elected to represent the constituency where he or she lives. For example, if a council got 30 seats, like the Georgetown municipality, 15 will be elected through the proportional representation system, and the other 15 will be elected through the first past the post system, giving a total of 30 councillors.
So that means that every constituency will have one of its citizens who live there having a seat and representing it at council.
Yes, Sunil, that's correct. And if you need to know anything else about the electoral system for local government elections, just call GCOM. Take care, Sunil.
All right.
Monday, June 12, 2023 is Local Government Elections Day. For further information, contact GCOM or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. A man has been crushed to death after a concrete beam fell on him while working on a building on Sheriff Street. The construction worker has only been identified as Kevin of Sophia. The man reportedly died after a concrete beam fell on him inside the Buddy's Pool Hall building on Sheriff Street. The man, along with others, were working on a section of the building when a concrete beam reportedly collapsed, killing him in the process. Headline News will bring you more details on this tragic story as it becomes available. In a tragic incident that unfolded late Monday night, police are investigating a fatal accident on Melanie Public Road. The incident involved motorcar PAC 6465 driven by Patrick Perry, a 36-year-old chief prison officer attached to the Guyana Prison Service. Perry, who resided at Victoria Road in Pleasance on the east coast of Demerara, was traveling in a western direction around 11:55 p.m. along the southern side of the Melanie Public Road at a considerable speed. However, while negotiating a left bend on the road, he tragically lost control of his vehicle. The car collided with a heap of sand on the southern parapet, causing it to topple multiple times. The collision forcefully ejected Perry from the vehicle, causing him to land on the road. Emergency medical team personnel promptly arrived. However, Perry was pronounced dead on the site. His body is at the Georgetown Public Hospital mortuary awaiting a post-mortem examination, and investigations into the incident remains ongoing. In other news, police are investigating a fatal accident near Hillfoot Suicide Linden Highway that has left a young man dead. The incident involved a motor lorry owned by Alabama Equipment Rental and Transportation Service and driven by 32-year-old Sudesh Rohit of Legwan Island, and a motorcar PKK 475 driven by 23-year-old Joel Alexander of Wilkins Street, Friendship, East Coast, Demerara. According to initial inquiries, the lorry was heading east along the northern side of the road when the driver alleged that the motorcar, traveling in the opposite direction, overtook a white car and ended up in the lorry's path. The lorry driver veered left to avoid a collision, but the two vehicles collided despite his efforts. Alexander sustained head and bodily injuries during the collision. He was immediately transported to the Diamond Diagnostic Center. However, doctors on duty pronounced him dead. The body is at the Memorial Gardens Funeral Home awaiting a post-mortem examination. Following the incident, a breathalyzer test was administered to the lorry driver, which yielded negative results, indicating the absence of alcohol in his system. Nevertheless, as part of the ongoing investigations, he remains in custody, cooperating with the authorities. Don't go away after the break. Meta fined $1.3 billion over transfer of EU user data to the US. And G7 Summit, China summons Japan's ambassador over criticism.
Why was just a man, Lillian?
But you man enough face me!
Leave my woman alone, Chop! Leave my woman alone!
I want you to have this. It's just some money.
Although I'm happy I find this goal, I still worried about it.
What do you think, man? This is Jumbie gold? Gold is gold, boy.
Tally, a Guyana prize-winning play powered by the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. Showtime 6 p.m. Dress elegantly casual.
Good girl forget things. What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. He is credit. And today, all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, fried spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you don't know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
Pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, jerk seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document planting flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radical went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a Guyana map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Make Georgetown beautiful once more with the council that you choose. Keep the city bright for sure, and the heritage we don't lose, and the heritage we don't lose, and the heritage we don't lose. Vote the Independent Citizens for Progress for a better and beautiful Georgetown at local government elections in June.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Miss Anne! Miss Anne!
Oh, hi, darling.
Help me out with this thing, man. You just know everything. What's all this talk about local government election?
Local government refers to the mayor and councillors who manage the affairs of our towns, like Georgetown, and the chairman and councillors of the Neighborhood Democratic Council.
Oh, but why is that important to me?
Dolly, it is very important. Every day, local government officials make decisions that affects you, your family, and the community. They serve the people within the community in which they were elected.
Oh, Miss Anne, me not understand all them big words you use there. Tell me what local government does do.
All right, darling. Local government is responsible for maintaining and protecting public property, like our community centers and the playgrounds, for collecting the garbage, maintenance of the streets, cleaning of the drains and the carpets, and so much more.
Oh, I now understand. Thanks, Miss Anne.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna show off for me friends them why I will vote at the local government elections.
That's a good thing. Let's go.
Monday, June 12, 2023 is Local Government Elections Day. For further information, contact GCOM or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Growing numbers of tourists are heading to the southernmost continent, but the increasing number of ships threatens the pristine environment of southern Chile, Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
The journey to Cape Horn begins on a ferry that leaves Punta Arenas, Chile once a week.
On the bow, we have the cruise and the Smoke Islands.
It's a 30-hour voyage to the wild south, which, unlike North America's Wild West, is still wild.
Charles Darwin described his voyage to Cape Horn on the HMS Beagle in 1833 as a pivotal moment in his life and key to his theory of the origin of the species. The scenery here is still pristine, but as we prepare to pass the same glacier that Darwin himself must have observed, we are keenly aware of just how much and how fast our natural world is changing.
A decade ago, this glacier reached the ocean, but now it's melting fast. We arrive in Port Williams, population 2,000, where streets were paved only 7 years ago. It houses a Chilean naval base, government workers, a small native Yagan community, and king crab fishermen.
Things have improved a lot. We've recently got internet.
But more change is on the way. Next door, a larger dock is being built to make Port Williams a gateway to Antarctica for cruise ships.
Yes, the dock will bring us some of our neighbors' tourists, but now we'll need a bigger airport.
Tourism is an option, but not just any tourism, say climate experts, who are worried about preserving these temperate forests, home to 5% of the planet's biodiversity. That's why conservationists are promoting bird watching to inspire people to protect vulnerable species, such as these large woodpeckers.
It's called biophilia. This was coined by Dr. E.O. Wilson from Harvard, and it's that every human has an innate connection and love of nature.
Birds are the first species to respond to climate change, so scientists are conducting intense research in these subantarctic forests. They use almost invisible nets to capture migratory birds and place a tiny GPS on their wings, also testing them for the spread of diseases like bird flu.
This concept emerges mainly from humans altering our ecosystems by entering habitats that were previously isolated, putting animals in contact with humans which can spread diseases.
The Cape Horn International Research Center, based here, is also promoting biocultural education, betting it will help cement a new model for sustainable development on our planet's remaining unspoiled environments. An ambitious experiment that could have a global impact. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Port Williams, Chile.
Internationally, Facebook's parent company Meta has been fined a record $1.3 billion for breaching European Union data protection laws. Meta says it has been singled out. Al Jazeera's Charlie Angela reports.
A record fine for Meta from the Irish Data Commission, $1.3 billion for breaching Europe's general data protection regulations. For sending the personal information of millions of European Facebook users to the US without properly protecting them from potential US surveillance. As well as the fine, an order for Meta to stop transferring US data to the US within the next 5 months. Meta says it will appeal the ruling and called the fine unjustified and unnecessary. In a statement, they said, "We are disappointed to have been singled out when using the same legal mechanism as thousands of other companies looking to provide services in Europe. This decision is flawed, unjustified, and sets a dangerous precedent for the countless other companies transferring data between the EU and US."
Majority of Facebook users in Europe probably weren't aware that their personal information stored on the platform could be vulnerable to US surveillance, nor that a ruling like this could see Facebook in Europe suspended. But a new pact to facilitate the safer transfer of their data to the US is in the pipeline and will be fully functioning by summer, avoiding any Facebook disruption.
The EU says the new system will give better protection to users.
We're finalising a framework for data protection between the EU and the US. We expect this to be fully functional by the summer, and this will guarantee stability and legal certainty both to support these businesses and would also guarantee strict protection of the private lives of citizens.
But privacy experts say this new framework won't fully protect EU citizens.
The United States does not have a data protection or privacy federal law that protects non-American in the way they protect American. And what it's been particularly problematic for many, many years has really increased when tech giants are monetizing personal data of millions of us around the world, while there is not this federal level of protection for information, both on the commercial sector and then the scope of surveillance law in the US is so broad.
The case dates back 10 years when US intelligence whistleblower Edward Snowden warned that tech giants were handing data to US surveillance agencies. In 2022, the European Court of Justice warned tech companies to ensure user data was safe, but they feel Meta did not listen. This record fine now has their full attention. Charlie Angela, Al Jazeera, London.
And finally, China has asked the United States to meet it halfway and bring bilateral ties back on track But Beijing has also responded angrily to statements made during the Group of Seven summit, which wraps up in Japanese city of Hiroshima on Sunday. Al Jazeera's Katrina Yu reports.
Beijing has hit back at the G7 nations for their criticisms during the summit. Leaders of the world's major democracies presented a united front on China, calling out what they described as maligned economic practices and concerning military activity around Taiwan and in the South China Sea. Chinese officials accuse the bloc of stirring up trouble in the Asia-Pacific and have downplayed concerns about alleged human rights abuses in Xinjiang, Tibet and Hong Kong.
The G7 summit and the countries concerned smeared and attacked China and brazenly interfered in China's internal affairs. China has made serious representations to the Japanese side.
Beijing has sought to discredit the G7, calling it an anti-China alliance led by the United States. It says Washington itself is guilty of economic coercion, pointing to trade restrictions imposed on Chinese technology companies.
So they feel it's being very much dominated by the U.S., that the U.S. is continuing this kind of Cold War in terms of tech, and also this containment policy overall.
State media have contrasted the summit with a gathering of Central Asian leaders in Xi'an last week. President Xi Jinping signed numerous deals, increasing trade with the 5 countries. Analysts say criticisms from the G7 are pushing China to rely less on the West.
China is already taking a whole host of steps to mitigate that by increasing its trading ties and investment ties with the developing world, with countries that don't have the same kind of concerns about exposure to China.
And while the G7 condemns Russia for its invasion of Ukraine, China maintains close ties, with Xi expected to host Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin this week. Analysts say the G7's stance toward Beijing has deepened the fault lines between China and the West. So far, they remain economically intertwined, but increasing distrust between both sides means tensions in future are likely to rise. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Russia has introduced what it called...
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's Safe TV2 headline news for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can also tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 for a rebroadcast and in the evening at 7 for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.